34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43.
Puede ser.
Não quis ajudar, por favor.
Free Raif Badawi! 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 Free conscience, free all princes of conscience, free all princes of conscience, free all princes of conscience.
Rights defenders,
Free rights defenders! Free rights defenders!
make the Commission hear our voice. Free rights defenders!
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 Free rights defenders! Turkey free Peter!
Turkey free Nalan!
Turkey free Nara!
No, devo venire più dritta.
Schiacciata dalla parte di là.
I think the main thrust of the 2017 report is that In the last 1 year, we saw the politics of hate and fear really getting normalized. Leaders and government using this to attack minorities, women and refugees. But at the same time in 2017, we saw people standing up for their rights, defending their own rights and the rights of others. That made 2017 very different. We have far too many examples of rolling back of freedoms in 2017. The most visible one is Myanmar, where hundreds of thousands of Rohingyas were pushed out of the country, ethnic cleansing as it's been called. And we have, of course, Yemen, where civilians have been attacked at a massive scale, women, children. And then the more subtle ones, like the introduction of surveillance under the guise of counter-terrorism in Europe. Not to mention places like Iran, China, Russia, where there have been further attacks on journalists, on lawyers, on youth. The United States, of course, is another country where we've seen under the Trump administration, again, an attack on media freedoms, on women's rights. So, unfortunately, far too many examples across the world in 2017 on rolling back of freedoms. I think protests are central to bringing about change. Leaders have to understand that they have political consequences for rolling back freedoms, and that comes out through a public outcry, a public expression that human rights matter. We have to remember that in many countries, politicians have started pandering to fringe elements who are pushing for human values to be forgotten, and public protest is central to pushing back and protecting human rights. So it's the first time in the history of Amnesty International that we are launching an annual report on the United States. And it's a sad commentary on the times, really, that we have a president and his administration who seem to be hell-bent on rolling back human rights. And this is tragic in some ways, because this country has been one of the most important voices in pushing human rights and freedoms for decades now. But President Trump has systematically, diminished media freedoms. He's attacked women's rights. We have something called the global gag rule, which they have introduced. We have a significant reduction in the refugee resettlement numbers. The most discriminatory Muslim travel ban was introduced. So there's a long list of reasons why we've launched it here, but it's equally also the place where we've seen the biggest and most kind of powerful pushback from people. The Women's March, the Me Too movement, the legal pushback in this country to stop the Muslim travel ban from being actually implemented. So there's also so much to celebrate in this country, and let's not forget that the United States is so influential across the world. So the actions of the US government significantly influences the behavior of other governments. So President Trump may think that he's doing something which is only relevant to the US, but it creates a permissive culture across the world to roll back freedoms. Well, human rights have survived many leaders. Leaders have come and gone, governments have come and gone, but the intrinsic belief, the human spirit for freedoms, for truth, for justice can never be crushed. It's always said that it's a United States slogan about how the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice, and that's a fact, and truth and justice will always prevail. And we also have to remember that this issue is not only about Trump. It's not only about the United States. This is happening in the Philippines, in Hungary, in Russia, in China, in Turkey. This is a global phenomenon. We are fighting against this across the world.
Their bodies, I think they are somewhere.
There's quite a lot of medical material around here. يعني بيتكم اندررت من الصواريخ اللي
اختصاص الدراسة الخصوصي للتربية والهندسية اللي يطلع ده.
نعم.
زينب محمد بالكم سيارة
Okay.
Mana nen mau? Apa nen nanti? Gewut.
Mana đi? Mana gì?
Gì lắm cái đấy gì?
मिलिटरी गुली मारत दे टाइम माझे बघू माणूस गाली गेला असं तू आर बाबरे देखे मतर गुली मारियर माता साई सार आरोग्य माता बाबा सार आरोग्य मगस नेली की आर बाबला तार नडरा सजी मरिले बघू ना तन मजून तोरा मला यार ना जायो